Welcome to the Mirage. Thank you everyone for coming to listen and to watch. If you're watching, you are blessed with this beautiful face. This is 𝕒𝕤𝕒𝕒𝕒, and she is one of the brightest lights I've had the pleasure of getting to know. She is extremely sweet and caring and intelligent, but also super, super talented. Allie deserves to be in the spotlight. She deserves for her voice to be heard and for her talent to be seen. You are Miss Dance of the United States.
Oh, yeah, 2010. A decade ago.
I hate talking about time.
A decade ago.
Who saw you dance and perform and said, that girl? I'm sure it was plenty of people, but what was that entire process?
That entire process, I don't know specifically who the judges were that weekend, but basically it was through the United States Tournament of Dance, which is a competition in the circuit. And you have to do a regionals competition, and if you qualify, then you go to nationals, and then you are allowed to enter if you would like. There's a regular competition, and then if you would like, you can enter for the title. So the title of Miss Dance United States. Right. So I always did that growing up. My parents supported me and put me in all that, so I was like, yes. That competition in particular is unique because it included almost more of like a pageant in a sense, where it's like, okay, you had an interview, you had to choose a foundation that you wanted to donate money to, you had to go and do outings throughout, like, it was in Atlantic City, so like along the boardwalk and like interact, and you also, of course, the main thing being dance. I won that year, and it was a super fun experience, and it was also really nice because that competition in particular, it's like partial scholarship, so I got a lot of money to put towards that first year of college, which was extremely helpful.
So as you were explaining all that, you read my mind. Like, the first thing that came to mind was your parents. I'm a super family-oriented person, and I have the pleasure of being, like, personal friends with Allie, y'all. So let me explain real quick. I'm sorry. Our last couple guests are people that I just met within the last several months, and I'm like, oh, dude, you're awesome. Come on the show, right? But Allie is like my friend, okay? Like, Allie gives me relationship advice. Allie and I have been out clubbing together, drinking together. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my girl, okay? This is my girl. Yeah. I just want to make sure everybody watches it knowing that. So what I was about to say, you know that not only am I really family-oriented, but you know that my parents were not supportive in this way. So the light that you shine is because your parents said, no, go be you, go do the thing, go shine your light. Yeah. What do you recall, or does anything come to mind when it comes to the type of support that they gave you? Or were there times where maybe you didn't believe in yourself and you know that your parents did something that warranted for you to have more confidence and security in this way? How did they truly just kind of really catapult you being the amazing professional dancer that you are now?
Yeah, so, I mean, they've been supportive since day one. When I was younger, I was apparently really competitive with my older brother. And so they were like, let's find something we can put her in that he would never attempt to do. So there's no competition. So they stuck me in dance, and I fell for it right away. And, doing recreational growing up. But then, I think my mom put me in when I was 7 into competition dance. And I absolutely loved it. And my mom was terrified because she was like, oh my gosh, this is like a money pit. What were we thinking? And, like, it's so expensive to do that stuff. And so the next year I didn't do any dance, and it was like me trying every single sport, every single other activity, swimming, gymnastics, volleyball, softball, soccer, I was just dancing around the whole time. I didn't care about, I was like in the outfield, like dancing in like the flowers and field and stuff, like not a care in the world. So
we know those kids. We know those kids that are supposed to be in math class that are like busting out grunge taste. Like,
yeah. It was a really like positive outlet for attention. As much as I think it's really weird to think about myself as this way, but like I definitely acted out that year, and like was very like dramatic and like a lot more troublesome than I think I was ever as a kid.
Right.
And my mom was like, this can't be, by chance. Like she needs this, she needs that structure, she needs that outlet. and I went with it ever since.
Gotcha.
There were definitely times where, like, my parents were interesting. They're very supportive, but they're always very realist. So, like, there were times where, like, I thought I was the shit and, like, I was doing it. And I was like,
Right.
Mom, why didn't I win? And she's like, one,
Right.
it's not about that, so calm down.
Right.
And two, because you weren't the best. So let's work on it and
Mom.
get better.
Yes. Yes, 2000s mom. You better keep it real with these kids.
Oh, and so, like, growing up, I hated hearing that, of course, because, like, who wants to hear that from your mom? But then it, like, really forced me to, like, not, like, have that crutch, and it really did make me just keep pushing to get better.
Yes.
And, of course, like, you know, I think I did get better, and eventually
Absolutely.
she was really open in, like, telling me when I did do a wonderful job. It wasn't just to tell me that I wasn't doing well. It was, like, really just telling it how it is. And eventually she had to tell me that she was really proud of everything I did. And my dad was supportive as well. He obviously didn't come to every competition. Like, my mom, I literally don't know how my mom did that for years. Like, I'm exhausted going after one competition.
Right. As a teacher, right.
Yeah, so, but she was there at every one, and my dad would come to, like, you know, one at the beginning, and then he would come normally to, like, the big, like, nationals at the end. And especially that last year when I did Miss Dance, and I made it into the finals, my mom called my dad and was like, drive up here, get here. And so he was there when I won, and he was like, you know, they had a whole bunch of things that day. Like, I got to drive in a limo and take a helicopter ride. And so he was, like, calling my grandfather and my family and being like, Allie won, she's in a limo. It was, like, really sweet to have him there. And that was, yeah. And it was really nice to, like, have that moment right before I went to college because, you know, my family have been supportive, but they're not, neither of them went to school for the arts. My mom is really creative in her own way, but she never really got the chance to go to school for that. And my dad is a mathematician, and, you know, my brother is an engineer. And so, like, me choosing to go to school for dance was like, you're sure? You sure about this? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, all right now.
I love that they trusted you and they let that happen.
Yeah. They made sure that, like, when I was in school, they were like, okay, you have to take all honors, all AP classes. You can't get anything lower than a B. Like, if this changes, then, you know, you're not allowed to dance. You know, you're under my roof, so you're going to do, you know, those types of classes. And then when you want to go to college, you can choose whatever you want to do. But they were like, you're going to get an education until then. And I'm like, all right, I can't be too mad at that.
That's a great compromise because look at where that's taken you. So with that being said, based on where that's taken you, so you got the scholarship to Boston Conservatory. But then after that, your professional life as a dancer, you've traveled the literal, like, world. You've worked with amazing dancers and choreographers. Tell me a little bit more about what you were able to accomplish because your parents did push you in that way.
I moved to New York right after school, and it was kind of another moment with my parents where they were like, all right, you're on your own now, sink or swim. You chose this artist life, you're going to get it. And it's another thing where, like, in that moment, I was so upset, and I was like, I have no help, I have no support, and like, I felt like that moment, and looking back now, it's like, it forced me to, like, figure out another way to support myself, because it is true that, like, it's really hard to support yourself on dance. But that being said, I did get the opportunity to perform with a lot of amazing choreographers. You know, I freelanced in a lot of, like, contemporary ballet companies, and eventually I found a home at Steps Repertory Ensemble, which was out of Steps on Broadway in New York. It doesn't exist anymore because funding, you know. But when it was there, I was there for 2 years, and I got to work with Sidra Bell, performed works by Lara Lubavitch and William Forsythe and Francesca Harper, and all these amazing choreographers in a very contemporary realm. I got to perform in New York and also at Jacob's Pillow, which is, like, a beautiful
that's a huge deal.
It's beautiful. That was a wonderful opportunity. And then since then, I lived in Mexico City for a little while. I was with a company there called 𝕒𝕗𝕗 Compañía de Danza. And yeah, so we just toured throughout Mexico, all over. And then we went to Europe. We were in Germany 2 different times. And we had like off days while we were there. So I got to explore around like Belgium and Amsterdam a little bit as well. That was really fun. And then most recently, I had a show with them in Miami last year. But as of now, they're pretty much based in Mexico right now. And I had to make the decision to either pick up and move my life there or, stay here with family and friends. And I made the decision to stay and,
And I'm so glad you did.
Wait,
if you had made that decision, would I have not met you?
Correct. Because my decision was right before I moved to Philly.
Okay.
It was towards the beginning of Jeff and I dating, and
union.
Yeah, and not that he was always very supportive of me doing that. I'm not saying that like because of him I didn't do that, but it wasn't stable. And, sometimes there'd be shows and sometimes there weren't. And I couldn't do any other type of work besides that dance company. So when there wasn't a job, I was...
Yeah, and it sounds like you experienced enough of that with your New York, your time in New York. So for you to have already gone through, maybe had New York not went that way, you would feel like it was some like big brand new thing and I have to go experience that aspect of the dance life. But no, you had already gone through it. You're like, I'm not doing that.
I'm good.
You're like, no, thank you. Right. Yeah. So that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So you brought up Jeff. We don't have to make this like a conversation about personal stuff, but you did list the many places that you've traveled to under the professional umbrella. You and your amazing fiance have also traveled the world, and that is something that the both of you are passionate about. Can you let me know where you and Jeff have traveled to as well? And then I'd like to know what your favorite is. Like, if you can pick a favorite, I know, tough.
Okay. So Jeff came to visit me while I was in Mexico City, so we got to experience that together. And then last summer we went to Australia and Thailand. We flew into Sydney. We had a few days there. We went down to Melbourne and we did like the Great Ocean Road, which was beautiful. And from there we went to Tokyo, Japan. And I have a cousin there that like showed us around. And then we took the bullet train to Kyoto, much more like quiet and serene. We had one day in Nara, which is where the deer park is. If you ever see like I feel like BuzzFeed and stuff have that like crazy places in the world, and it's like just deer walking around. So we had like one day there just to experience that. And then we went to Thailand. We went to Patong Beach there. And that was just kind of like our relax and chill out. Then we went back to Australia, to Brisbane, which is actually where he went. He had like a year abroad. So he was showing me around there. And we took a ferry to North Stradbroke Island, which is just like really secluded, like really bad cell service. Like thankfully it's like really tiny, so like you'll figure out where you are eventually.
Right.
And then we came home, and that was a wonderful trip. We haven't been able to do too much this past year just because, we've been saving and then all of a sudden shut down and stuff. But favorite, gosh. Possibly Japan, just because I feel like out of all those places, I would want to go back there because there's so much that we still didn't get to see.
Okay.
Like, we only saw, really just 2 different cities. There's so much happening in so many different, like, cultures within itself. And even though, like, Japan is smaller, it's so dense. And there's so many different sides to it.
Right.
So I would want to go back there and experience that. Plus, it was just so cool. And, like, I kept on thinking, it was like, it's kind of like New York, but, like, clean. And everyone just, like,
What I would do for a clean New York.
But like I'm saying that in the sense, like it had the style, it had fashion, it had some grit to it, like it had all of those like culture experiences that I would want and that I miss from New York. But like the subway was like everyone waited their turn in line and you got on. Yeah, it's crowded, but we did it in an orderly fashion. And you know, it's just, and maybe that's because I only again saw a few cities there, but it's definitely, it made me wanting more.
That's definitely a good reason to make that a favorite place when you know that if you went back, you'd have so much more to do. That's awesome. I want to go. Commercial break, guys. I'm wearing a ZYIA sports bra because it's my jam. This is the All-Star bra. We're going to shout out our mutual friend, the destiny to our child, Sarah McWilliams, a.k.a. Sarah Sarami, because you got married, girl. And she is an entrepreneur. You will be hearing her in an interview next week, too. And we're going to dive into her new pursuit as an entrepreneur, business owner, when it comes to ZYIA Activewear. I'm wearing it because I love it, and I look really good in it. Can we just talk about that? Like, I don't think anybody can look bad in ZYIA.
No, I really don't. It's like literally
How do they do
flattering, so comfortable, and all the colors are phenomenal.
I want to know how they accomplish that. As a matter of fact, I didn't even intend for this to be a segue into my next question, but it turned out to be the perfect segue. I'm blown right now. I have so many insecurities. We all do. The insecurities that I have about my body, for whatever reason, ZYIA Activewear has taken, like, those actual insecurities, and I'm just like, where'd it go? Whether it be love handles, whether it be my cup size or lack thereof, but like, how did ZYIA just say, like, no, your love handles don't exist anymore, and we're gonna make it look like you're a little bit more curvy? How did they do it?
Because they created something for like an actual body and not something that's supposed to fit just two sizes and like force yourself to think that that's what you're supposed to look like. They're like, no, that's not actually real people. Let's make something for majority of the human body. That's what I think. I'm not a spokesperson for them, but that's my personal opinion.
I was about to say.
That's my opinion.
Hey, yo, ZYIA, you need to pay her. You need to pay her for how she just broke that down, for real. That was incredible. That was a wonderful breakdown. Love how this ended up being a segue. Unplanned.
Okay.
With your experience as a professional dancer, growing up in the dance world, especially from a young age, when you hear the term body positivity, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, body positivity, I mean, it'd be great. It'd be great for the dance community to embrace that more and more.
Have you seen changes in the dance community embracing that?
Slowly. In my opinion, there's just still so many walls built up that, like, I do not think we're there yet at all. Yeah. Because, I mean, I think a lot of the times they equate the shape of your body or the amount of weight you have to, like, if you're fit, if you're healthy, if you are strong enough. And those aren't always correlated. Like, you can be healthy, you can be fit, you can be strong, and you can still have, you know, a different shape than that, you know, classically thought of stick figure body for ballet. They don't always correlate. And still the same with that. You could have like that stick figure body and you could be unhealthy. Maybe that's natural for your body, but I think a lot of the times it's not. And so that causes a completely different side of the unhealthiness that people in dance still just like aren't addressing. You know, personally, I've had both sides of things. You know, I've had a pretty good support system growing up through my studio that like was very body positive and like didn't really make me feel ashamed of anything. But at the same time, I knew that like my body was not that classical figure shape. I had some curves and I loved them and I did not want to give them up and hate myself for it. Kind of why I Like I had one teacher that really wanted me to do classical ballet and like go into like an apprenticeship program with
Mm-hmm.
that, and I was like, I can't. That's just
Mm.
not what what my cards have been dealt, and I don't
Right,
want to
right.
like force that so much that I end up, in an unhealthy space. Um, Sometimes it does get frustrating, and a lot of times it's just like having curves is equated to not being fit, which
Right.
is ridiculous because like even at my fittest of
Right.
my like skinniest and like most muscle
Yeah.
tone and all that stuff, they're still there.
Those beautiful curves are still there.
Yeah. And so like if my thing has always been, because like I feel like it was instilled in me from a young age that like if you're not going to accept me and my body, that's on you. And I don't want to be in that work
Mm.
environment because I'm okay
Mm.
with myself enough to know that like it's you,
Right.
So,
Wow.
but that doesn't make it easy. And I feel like I lost out on a handful of opportunities
Hmm.
because my body didn't fit what they thought it should be. Either it was too curvy, I'm too tall, I'm too ballet, I'm too modern. Like I was always in a really interesting in between place. It's
Right.
just so that's
Hmm.
that's who I am. I'm a little bit of everything.
Now, I like that you said that you felt that way at a young age, and it was established early on that it's not me, it's you. Was there any particular experience that, like, was there a speed bump where you had to get over it and make sure that you had that thinking?
Well, I mean, I feel like I was a little bit of like a late bloomer, and then all of a sudden it happened overnight.
Mm.
So at first it was, it's not me, it's you in regards to my body is perfectly fine being
Mm-hmm.
the way it is. It hasn't developed yet. I am super, lanky or whatever, but like that's just me. And then it was like literally overnight, my body completely changed. And
Mm.
then, getting different type of attention. But again, it's just like I'm going to love my body in whatever form it's in.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it started so young is that like I had to already tell myself like it's okay to still look this way. And everyone
Yeah.
might be changing, but like maybe I will, maybe I won't. Who knows? Who cares? Like this is still me.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
like even though it did change, it's still me. So
I love that. I love that. I think that might be the Libra in you, that balance and that understanding. I just feel like so many other people, maybe this is just me talking about myself. I'm just like heightened emotions and sensitive and this, that, and the third. Like, there was so much, I guess, with my insecurities that I dealt with, not having communicative parents that talked me through these transitions where I may have been a little bit more at effect. So I admire and respect and love the fact that at a young age you did have that balance and that understanding to say, no, no, this is me, and you didn't throw yourself into being upset about those changes and about the way that people view you. That's amazing. That's why you're one of the best dance instructors ever, because you impart that. You absolutely impart that.
I try. I try to make
Mm-hmm.
sure my language is more so directed at like the physical engagement of your muscles versus like the shape of your body. So like
Mm.
I try to explain like I can tell when you're engaging your abdominal muscles. It's
Yep.
not about a flat line, this or that. I can literally
Right.
tell, are you releasing your pelvis? Are you going into sway
Right.
back? Are you RJing and doing all that? Or are you pulling up and lifting in your lower abs? And I try my best to make it clear what I'm speaking about anatomically versus
Yes.
outside visually, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
So
And with the student body that you have, I mean, that just, you're such a valuable teacher and you're so talented and great at what you do. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, us dance instructors out here, okay, we are battling so much.
you
We
might
are
not think it, but
fighting.
there's a lot that goes into this.
We are fighting against so much, dude. Social media has our students, has our kids by the neck, yo. By the neck.
Yeah. It's completely changed, I think, what students are looking for, what they think they're going to get, and just like where their focus and attention lies. It's like I didn't, that wasn't even a distraction. It wasn't a thing for me. Like, yeah, I think So You Think You Can Dance came out when I was in middle school, but like that was still like, it's just not the same.
Yeah, and with So You Think You Can Dance, like, you saw the work that went into it.
Yeah.
Very different than seeing the final product, you know, on social media.
It's commercialized, but it's still like showing it some sort of technique and some, the work that goes into it. Yeah. Versus like, you know, a 1 minute clip of learning how to do something like that. Like, it's like,
right.
It's just very different. And it's more so for the attention than the actual like work that you get out of it.
Yep.
Not to say that I'm like anti-TikTok or whatever, but it's just like, it's just very clear how it's affected the training that we're trying to do.
Unfortunately. So how many studios are you at now?
3.
And what would you say the climate is like at each of them? What do you enjoy about being an instructor at those 3 places?
I think each one of them has like a different focus, and that's always really nice to see, like each individual niche.
And it's like variety for you as well.
Definitely. And like each group of students is completely different, and like working with them in different ways. So keeps me on my toes, and it keeps me, you know, having to think like, okay, if I explain it one way to this group, I go in and try to explain it that same way, it might not work. I have to, you know, come up with a different way to explain it to them.
Yeah.
In terms of like what's going on right now, you know, I'm really thankful that these studios have put in the work to stay and like try and make it happen, and it's not easy like time right now.
Yep.
And I don't know if everyone realizes the amount of work that goes behind the scenes to try and make sure that everything's operating in a safe and healthy manner while still giving these kids an outlet, because you don't know what you got till it's gone. But like if that were to disappear, then I think it would be extremely difficult. But you know, everyone's trying their best, making it work. I'm happy to still have students and, you know, have things to work towards this year.
When did you start teaching? When did you start instruction?
When I was still in high school, probably. I mean, I started, you know, assisting for the younger kids' classes, probably like my 9th through 10th grade year. And then my 11th and 12th grade year, my high school started like a program with the elementary schools that were in the same district. So, like,
Shout out Glen Burnie. Shout out Glen Burnie. Woo woo. Yeah, Glen Burnie. Woo woo. Who's from there? Tony Braxton or something?
Actually, I forget if she went to Glen Burnie or Severna Park. It was something, but it was
okay.
It was
something
in the
close
area. But yeah, no, I was very fortunate to have a really great teacher there, and she supported, you know, all the work that we did, and yeah, we ended up doing like a program with an after school program with the kids there, where we would teach and work with them, and we would create a dance for them to, you know, perform at like the all county end of the year type of showcase.
Yes.
So that was fun, and that's when I like first started teaching. College, I didn't teach too much just because, you know, I'm focused on that training / I had 0 extra time.
Right.
But once I got out of college, I immediately started teaching. It's a really good way to supplement income, and at this point, that is my main focus, and it is like my career, and I'm really proud of them and making that work. But yeah, I've just been teaching for a while. I also still got to teach while I was in Mexico, so I didn't stop teaching there. I got to teach at 2 different colleges while I was there, which was interesting.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was really great. It was really cool. And again, figuring out a different way to explain things, because I don't speak Spanish. You know,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, like I think while I was there, I learned the basics but like teaching dance requires so many metaphors and comparisons and like not tangible explanations.
Wow.
So, but they were, I mean, I was lucky enough that a lot of them, you know, had experience with English and just also were very attentive students.
Okay.
Great. I also had like co-teachers there that like if I was really struggling, they could jump in and help me out a little bit.
Okay, that's good.
But that was a wonderful experience, and they were very such a like community.
Right, and I was going to ask, did you see a difference in the dance student body there in Mexico City versus your work in the States?
Yeah, I haven't worked with too many college programs here in the States.
Okay.
I work mainly like from 7-year-olds to high school. But even like with the younger kids that were there, it's like, I think a lot of them started later, and them doing this, it's like, I thought I was being risky doing dance as a thing, but like, no, it's really, you know, seems like such an honor and not a given. It's like you really had to earn that, and you know, they're working so hard to make that dream come true. And not that, you know, kids aren't here, but I think they already made that decision that that's their dream, versus the students I work with here, they're not sure what they want to do yet.
Wow.
So,
and they have the open avenues and the options, and yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So a few episodes ago, I interviewed Brittany Porter. She's a personal trainer and fitness phenom. But she talked about her mental health and some things that she went through. And it prompted me to ask, like, have you stopped to realize how your connection with some of your clients could be pulling them out of a similar experience, you know, not being in a good frame of mind? In your experience as an instructor, are there any relationships you've had with any students that have been super impactful, and just friendships or connections that you know were extremely valuable, whether they were valuable to the student or to you, or both?
I think I'm starting to form that. I think because I still, you know, I moved to the area 3 years ago now. So like I'm still like getting those real connections, and like kids starting to really open up and trust me in that regard. But I think already I can start to see that happening. You know, there was someone that recently graduated that had similar like body issues as to like what I had growing up, and it's like,
okay,
you're gorgeous, like why are you like hating on yourself right now? You know, thinking that like you need to like have a surgery to change that or something, but you don't. Like you're gonna be okay, just like give it a few years and see how you feel, you know, like don't be so drastic. And you know, whatever she decides, and that's fine. But you know, hopefully I was at least someone there to be like I went through that, and you could be just fine. Like if I don't know, that was interesting. And also just in general, I try to believe in the underdog. Like I feel like I was like that. And like I had teachers that like really pushed me and like forced me to grow more, and really just didn't give up on me. So I tried to do that. So hopefully that helps to impact them. But just in general, kind of like I said before, just trying to approach it in a different way and give them different language and different ways to think about why it is certain things seem the way they are in dance.
Right.
You know, why it might seem like, oh, you have to have it this way, or your body's supposed to be that, and trying to explain it to them that's not so superficial. So hopefully over time that does help them. My goal is to create like a trauma-free experience. I feel like dance training can be pretty traumatic in a lot of ways. But just trauma-free zone.
Right, right. And I had a similar conversation recently, or somewhat pertinent to this, about like feeling a little bit burnt out lately. And especially because, like, prior to dance, I'm the oldest of such a large family. I truly value being a positive role model and an influence.
Hmm.
So lately it's been like, am I positively influencing everybody? Like, am I doing my job to the best of my ability?
Mm.
Are they impacted the way that I truly hope that, like, that they are? Um, and I
They
just
are.
think, yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
I've seen you.
Right, I
I
appreciate that.
know you.
Thank you. It's just like I wonder if it's their age, within adolescence, is it something that they aren't aware is happening in their minds? I truly believe that, 10 years from now, or when they are adults and they can look back, hindsight being 2020, they will realize how much you and I and other teachers truly impacted them. They'll remember that monologue that we gave. Oh man, the monologues. I just hope they were listening, because, like, you get so passionate in that moment of,
Yeah.
like, listen to everything I'm saying right now. You are beautiful, and this piece is great, so
Over the
in
summer,
the moment, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that just reminded me of like over the summer I was able to start incorporating some strength and stretch classes, trying to
Mm,
like get everyone back into like peak
yes.
condition after like being at home for so long. Um, and I started ending each class with like a 5 minute like meditation session
Yes.
where it'd be like, okay, today it's like uh, let's think about, you know, um, something that was really difficult during this time. What did
Mm,
you do to overcome that? Know that you can always overcome anything, or like, stop and think about something about yourself that you love and appreciate, and tell yourself, I am beautiful. That part of me is beautiful. Or,
yes.
just like trying to find different ways to remind them that they are working so hard, and like even if they
Yeah.
don't feel it or see it, like that is appreciated, and you have to appreciate your
Yes.
body for giving you the chance to do that.
And that your low points don't last forever.
Yep.
Whether it's a physical low point or a societal low point,
Yeah.
this too shall pass, as cliche
Yeah.
as the phrase is.
Yes.
That's awesome. When it comes to choreography, two sides of this question. Is there a piece that you performed that you truly connected with that impacted you the most? Yeah. Um, and is there a piece that you've choreographed that you were just like, oof, that came out of me? Oh my God, I need this on national television right now.
um hmm. That's tricky. I think two different things come to mind as far as like me performing. Um, one being while I was in New York with Steps Ensemble and getting to perform an excerpt from Limbs by William
Mm,
Forsythe. And it was the first time I got to do like the pas de deux, so like the big duo. And
yeah.
it was on point, and it was contemporary ballet, and like I felt so fierce, and like being able to partner in that way, like a lot of times I didn't get to partner because I was too tall or this or that, and it's like
Right.
we made it work. And that was really fun, and that's the piece I got to perform at Jacob's Pillow. So like
Oh,
that
wow.
was a really awesome experience to have, like, and we got like such positive feedback, and I was just,
Mm,
yes, this is what I want to do. And then the other one being in Mexico with TDS, and just I guess that whole experience in general, that it's like, I was found in New York and brought to Mexico, and brought into this such
yes.
diverse group, and given a chance to perform something completely out of my ballpark. Like there was one piece, like the piece had a lot of different genres, but the one that I think I will always remember is the fact that I was in heels in a platinum blonde wig, and I was
Yes.
lip syncing to a Spanish pop song. Like that was my
Whoa.
role.
Wait, so you had to learn the Spanish lyrics to the song, I'm assuming, yeah? Oh, where's the footage? Give me footage. Is
Next
this
time
on
we're hanging
YouTube
out, I'll show
somewhere?
you. Not on
Opens new
YouTube,
tab.
but I'll I'll show you next time we're hanging out. But
That sounds
that was
awesome. Right, and I got to see all the competitive pieces at your parents' house. So now, yes, I need the next level. I need to see that piece.
Yes,
too.
how that evolved. Yeah. But that was like something I never thought I'd be doing, and I felt like a rock star doing it.
Ooh.
So, yeah. But as far as things that I've choreographed, I don't know. I love to choreograph. I'm not sure I've gotten the chance to like see it on the big stage or like in the way that's like fully imagined or anything like that. I do love working with like soloists, and on like a more personal level, that's when I start to really feel like, oh, it hit me, because it's like I feel like I get the chance to like create an environment where they can tell their story or like show themselves. So I really like doing it that way and like really getting to know them through that process.
Right. Having your own company, a director and head choreographer and things of that nature, is that something that you want in the future?
No.
Really?
I don't.
Why not?
I don't think that is my role. I think not everyone is a choreographer, and I think I love choreographing, and like in the capacity that I do it in, I think it works, and I love like performing my own works and stuff like that. But as far as like having a full-on company of just my choreography, I don't think that's what my role in the dance world is supposed to be.
Gotcha. Okay.
But what I do love the idea of is being like an assistant director or like a rehearsal director. In the sense of like still working very closely with the dancers and helping them to like refine and explore the movement that they've been given from the choreographer. Right. That's something I've always really liked the idea of. But I think I play a supporting role more so than like the full-on creator.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I understand, and I totally connect with that. I hear you.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being a creator, I've been so excited about this part of the conversation. Okay. You have created something, though.
Yeah.
Something amazing and valuable. Something that has been around for a little bit over a year now. And although times are weird, right now, we're going to push through, and everything that you accomplished prior to March is incredible.
Thanks.
So the Artist Oasis is your baby.
Yeah.
Your baby.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about where the idea to start the Artist Oasis came from.
Yeah. So I think it stemmed from going through the experience so many times of like being told you're really talented, we really like you, you're just this, we don't have a place for you, or you're not right for this or that. And it's like, if I'm so good, then like why don't you want me?
Right. Or why can't you place me anywhere? Yeah. Like for you to have that clout or be in that position, shouldn't you know of other opportunities, other this, other that, other artists? Yes. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So no, it's just, and that's something that I've worked through on my own terms, but in general, I'm like, I know I am not the only person out there. And I just feel like the demand for, like, the amount of jobs available for artists and the amount of artists looking for jobs is just really it's not proportionate. And so, I was just like, there has to be another way to, like, get people's work out there. Yes. And to create a different type of community where it's like, let's help each other get to where we want versus just saying no.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where Artist Oasis was born, trying to create a community to like network and support and showcase your work without like, I don't know, going like paying so much that like, you know, some of these showcases an entry fee is like $100, you know, and that's a lot for an artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, that's only one show or, you know, something like that. Or to rent out your own theater to put on your own work,
Right.
it's like minimum 1,000, you know, and it's just, it's really difficult to get your work out there as like a freelance individual artist.
Yes.
So trying to give a platform for that, and then making resources a little bit more available. That's the goal. Yeah.
So with that being said, here's what the Artist Oasis accomplished in 12 months or less. Okay? Networking. So many photographers have met other models, dancers that are in the company because of the Artist Oasis, and created beautiful pieces because of that. You yourself, as a dancer, performed with a small ensemble, a string ensemble, as well as having the piano. And you also, as the Artist Oasis, made the showcase happen where that piece would then be performed. So you have a performance opportunity. I'm sorry, the other thing about the showcase, the artist in the Artist Oasis did not have to pay an application fee for that showcase to happen. So as an artist, as a performer, as a musician, etc., you put out $0 in order to have a showcase and a performance opportunity. As a dancer, you were able to do your own original choreography, as well as collaborate with the people who composed the live piece that was being played as you performed. There were multiple miniature galleries set up throughout the warehouse space that nobody else had to pay for. The beautiful warehouse space that you covered in string lights and cleaned and set up and made happen. Okay. So there was a full experience offered to every artist that was a part of this network and this community. Free of charge. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. The photographers, the artists, they did not have to drop a dime for their artwork to be printed. Artist Oasis did that. So you had galleries, you had pieces that were for purchase at that gallery, and the Artist Oasis printed those for them. That is expensive stuff right there.
I will say, because I don't want to lead people along,
Okay.
we do charge $50 for the year, but that's
Yeah.
for the year. And the showcase is not an extra fee. That's like all inclusive, plus promotion, plus this and that. So I just don't want to lead people on and that it's like 100% free. But like I try to make it I try to make it as affordable as possible. So that
which, in my opinion, you did, because you're charging a venti at Starbucks a month. You know?
That's a great way to think about it.
One venti beverage from Starbucks per month, people. And you get all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a really wonderful experience to see like everything come to fruition. And I just hope that we can find some form of that. I have a few ideas that we're still working on. But I do want to try and get it out there in some capacity, you know. But we'll see what we can do.
Which you will. Then we did the interviews. So as an artist, you had the opportunity to really sit and speak intimately and intricately about your background as an artist, and those went on IGTV. This is a very valuable network. So it's just funny. I started off by asking, like, do you want your own company? Do you want to be a head choreographer, director of a company? And you're like, nope. But you're creating, like, that's still your baby. That's your company now. And you've created so much for other artists.
I think I like providing the platform for others.
Yes.
You know,
that says
I don't
a lot about you.
I feel like my artistic lens for like my personal work and choreography, like that's only like a small little bit of it and like who I am. Yes. But I think like the collective as a whole, I appreciate that so much more than just like amplifying one voice. Trying to get all the voices that we can out there. And if anything, just like give it a safe and positive platform. Like there's no judgment. There's not like, your work's not good enough to be promoted. It's like this is your work and you should be proud of your work, whatever
Yes.
capacity it is. And all of our artists are like amazing. So
They
I think
are.
it's been really nice to see that come together. And I just hope we can keep pushing through it all, you know, which we will. We will.
Yes.
But, you know, it gets a little bit
Absolutely.
tricky sometimes.
Yes. It's so valuable. And I'm so happy for you and inspired by you. It's like you have so many different ways you can inspire a person, whether it is body positivity, whether it's about artistry and creativity. In this way, it's about like professionalism and believing in yourself. Would I feel confident enough to have finally started the Mirage if not for seeing you start the Artist Oasis and being an integral part in that, or a friend, you know, while I watched you do that? I don't think so. Hold on, I really got emotional. It just happened.
I think we would have found a way to like give you as much support as you needed to make that happen. Maybe we like sped it along a little bit because we were like, no, you literally can do this. You're doing it already. But I think you would have found your way to this one way or another. But I am really happy that
but
like
you're and it's not just the professional or the logistic aspect of the conversation and the podcast right now. Like your friendship and just like being alongside you while you did all of that, and then just being your friend and having you encourage me. Yeah, man. I'm not sure it would have happened, dude. Oh, I love you.
Yeah, me too. And I'm really happy that you're doing this, and I think it's wonderful, and I can't wait to see it,
Thanks.
you know, continue to grow and see all the wonderful individuals that you have the chance to showcase.
I appreciate it. You do a lot of things with poise. That is something that stands out about you. Your class and your poise and your professionalism.
I'm not gonna lie, I immediately started thinking of Miss Congeniality with Sandra Bullock because her poise and her class.
Oh snap! I didn't even peep that. Yo, I'm about to go watch that movie. That used to be one of my favorite movies. Like as a teenager, I watched it like 5 times. I don't know why.
And I feel like I really relate to Sandra Bullock's character because that's how I feel like in life. But thank you very much.
Well, it's true. And I just love being able to know you on both a personal and a professional level. I really do. I'm so grateful. So glad the 3 of us have connected the way that we have. Thank you. In the midst of all the craziness, in the midst of making sure that Finny the pit bull is okay, planning your wedding and preparing for the fact that it's happening in like less than 3 weeks, handling COVID, and still working within COVID, you stopped and you took a moment to have this conversation with me. So thank you so much. Again, thank you for always encouraging me when it came to doing this. There are only 2. It's you and Sarah. I was like, save the best for last, literally. Thank you for chatting with us. It's always lovely having like a more intimate perspective of you and how awesome you are and everything that you do.
Love ya.
I love you. I can't wait for people to hear this interview. Professional dancers, get up on it. You need to be like Allie. That's that.
I don't know about all that, but thanks.
Okay. We wouldn't have this interview if there weren't multiple things about you that need to be imparted upon everyone else that can connect and relate to you.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
I don't think I've ever said this to you out loud before.
What?
This is like my first actual friend wedding, okay? So, oh yeah, you didn't know that? You didn't know that? Girl, you know I was homeschooled. You know I ain't got no friends like that. But for real.